Guess what time it is? It is time for season 4 of the Great American Stampin Show. That's right, we've completed 3 seasons, and if you have been with us all along the way, welcome back. I am Brandy from brandystamps.com. If you're joining and you're new, this is a competition between 4 stampers. We're each going to give you our best project, and you're going to tell us which one you like best by clicking like on the video here on YouTube. All the links to my competitors' videos are right in my description, and I hope you're going to love mine the most. Season 4 is all about color, which is, I'm so excited about this. This is one of the best things about Stampin' Up! And basically the reason I started to use Stampin' Up! Products 25 years ago. So color, you can go to a craft store and pick out like 5 different things that are green. Ribbon, buttons, cardstock, ink, and go home and try to make a project, but they're not all the same green. And that's the struggle that I was facing. But with Stampin' Up, you can choose, let's say, Old Olive. And you can choose cardstock and gems and patterned paper and ink and ribbons, and they will all be Old Olive and they will all coordinate perfectly, which makes for such a more cohesive and beautiful project. So that is my little campaign for Stampin' Up! Colors, and today our color challenge is Petunia Pop, you guys. This is Shannon's very favorite Stampin' Up! Color, so she has issued the challenge that we each make a card using Petunia Pop. Are you ready for this? Let's get going. So Petunia Pop, this is just one of 50 exclusive colors that Stampin' Up! Has right now. Knowing that there are 50 different amazing on-trend colors to work with is probably not too surprising to hear that, you know, as you get stampin', you tend to use your favorite colors more than you use other colors. And so this, I'm not gonna lie, it came out about less than a year ago, and I really have not used it all that much. How embarrassing, because this is really a beautiful color. So with Stampin' Up, you can get all of these different items that coordinate. This obviously is the cardstock. This is the Petunia Pop cardstock. And you can get a pack of 24 sheets, or this is part of the 2024-2026 in color collection. So if you don't want to buy a whole pack of all Petunia Pop, like 24 sheets would be too many, you can get the assortment pack with the 2024-2026 in colors. And that will give you, there are 5 different colors in this set. It will give you, I think, 4 or 5 of each color. And so then you'll just have a handful of sheets to use. So that's what I would recommend to start with. And all of our color options kind of work that way. For instance, there is a 2024-2026 designer series paper collection. It's a 6x6 paper collection. And the 5 colors that come in it are, there's this kind of bright green, there's a peachy color, there's a pink, that's more of the peach, there's this kind of bluish, that one's called Summer Splash. And then here we are with Petunia Pop. So I pulled out my designer series paper collection, and the one I chose to use out of all of these cute designs is the stripes. So let's set that here with our cardstock. Look at that amazing coordination. Another item that comes in the 2024-2026 collection is the glimmer paper. So this is a 12x12 pack, and it gives you a sheet of each of the 5 colors of glimmer paper. Oh my word, aren't they just yummy? There's like a blue, a green, a pink, a peach, and then there's our Petunia Pop. So I'm going to pull out some glimmer paper. So once I had these 3 papers pulled out, I started to think about what kind of a design I might want to do. And let me pause and show you a card that I was inspired by. This is something that I received this week from a friend in the mail. My dog actually died this month, you guys. Oh, it's been just absolutely heartbreaking. And so this is a friend of mine sending me a little card to tell me she's thinking of me with the loss of Dinah. And so I really loved the big heart in the background here. And for a moment, the thought went through my mind like, oh, there used to be a big set of heart dies. I don't have those anymore. But then all of a sudden I remembered, I thought there might be something new in the mini catalog. And I was right. This is called the Hearts of Elegance dies. And by the way, there's a whole suite. There's stamp set, dies, ribbon, paper, gems, the works. But the dies are what I had my interest on. So look at these pieces. These ones are designed to cut out some of the stamped imagery. And then these ones with the big kind of silver plates and the texture, as you cut those, they'll cut the heart, but they'll also kind of stamp some cool texture onto the cardstock when you cut them. But I only had eyes for this giant heart. Oh my goodness, I was really excited that I had this to work with. So you better believe I popped that right onto my glimmer paper, ran this through my big Boss machine. I've now got a heart to work with. So with the cardstock, I'm going to do a card base. This one is just an 8.5 by 5.5, and I am going to start with it scored right down the middle, but then I still line up the corners, and I use my bone folder to give it a gorgeous crease. So here's my card base, and I've got my heart. With this paper, I thought I would cut it down. I did a little strip that is more like 2 by 5.5. So I'm going to kind of put this here somewhere behind the heart. So I've got a good start here for a card front. But the next thing I started to think was, okay, am I going to keep this absolutely monochrome, or do I want to pull in any other colors? So this is where the color coach can be really helpful. This is an item that you can get right from my Stampin' Up! Store, and everything I'm using here is linked in the description. But the color we started with is right here, Petunia Pop. So depending on what I'm trying to do, I could do a complementary setup, put the complementary window right over Petunia Pop, and then I would look at the opposite complementary window and find some colors that might look good as a complement. Or you could do a triadic combo. So here's the triadic, 1, 2, 3, and I'll put Petunia Pop in one window and then check to see what's in the other 2 windows, and that'll help you make a trio of colors. But one way, and I thought I would stick with this for this card because the focus is supposed to be Petunia Pop. So I came over here and put monochromatic right over the Petunia Pop. And I can adjust it side to side a little to kind of see what colors might be able to be on this card and still have it be considered monochromatic. So what I landed on was Blackberry Bliss. This is just kind of a deep, more dark purple color that is such a good complement. So what I did first was pull in the ink. So I want to do some stamping in Blackberry Bliss, so that'll show up really well. I'm actually going to do some stamping in Petunia Pop as well. And now the stamp set that I'm going to use is called With You in Mind. And this one came out also in the mini catalog that's currently available through Stampin' Up! And I really love this set because it's got these large greetings, and I'm just a sucker for a really large mixed font greeting. And so I wanted to use one of these greetings for sure, but I love how it's got little images to complement as well. So I really debated, because obviously I have a heart going here, which makes you think of Valentine's Day, but there's no Valentine's Day here. So what I've pulled out is Happy Birthday. And this is going to be perfect for my mother-in-law who has a birthday right near Valentine's Day. So, okay, her name is Joan Barnard. She's one of the loveliest people you'll ever know. You should go right in the comments and say happy birthday to Joan right now. And I'm super excited to be able to show her birthday card. Hopefully she'll watch this video, but it'll also be a little bit of a spoiler. So, hi Joan. Thanks for being the best mother-in-law that the world has ever known. So we'll give this a nice press down. That's in the Blackberry Bliss. So this is the darker color. See how we're still getting the really good monochromatic feel? And now I'm going to pop over to the little flower image from the set. So I'm breaking away a little bit from the Valentine's vibe. We'll mix up some hearts and flowers. I'm going to do a bit of stamping right on this designer paper strip. So let's do almost a full flower down here. One that's kind of halfway off. A lot of this is covered up in the end, but we'll get the effect here. And maybe one up there. Now, I could do some more stamping all over, but why? It's going to be covered up, so I'm really not going to see that. Let's also stamp one right here. This is just a scrap paper. And what I'm going to do with this one is cut it out. I'm not doing an incredibly careful job. Just my number one thing is leave a bit of white all the way around the flower. So I'm just cutting around the flower, leaving a white space. And there we go. We've got it all trimmed out. Let's start to put this together now. I'm going to adhere this strip just kind of along the top here. I'll go just a little less than an inch from the fold, and I'm using Seal Plus, my favorite paper-to-paper adhesive, to stick that on. I'm thinking I'll use a mini glue dot here to attach the flower. I want it to be just kind of above the Y here, right about like that. And then as I started to lay these pieces out, I thought, ooh, I would love just a little bit more contrast. And so what I've done is cut out a second heart, the exact same heart die cut, but I cut it out from the Blackberry Bliss color. I'm just going to lay this behind the heart so it just shows on the two edges. It gives it the real vibe of like a conversation heart with the depth to it. And I'll just roll a bit of Seal Plus here on the back of the glimmer paper. Something like that. And then we'll use Seal Plus again on the Blackberry Bliss. And we'll stick this on. It almost completely fills the space top to bottom. So I'll just bump this almost all the way over to the left. Now, when I attach this happy birthday, it's going to go partly on the glimmer paper and partway off. And because I have 2 layers of cardstock here, there's a little bit of depth here that you might not expect. So I'm going to use the mini dimensionals. These guys are just a little bit less tall than the regular dimensionals. So I'm just going to give it a tiny bit of height by putting a mini dimensional on these ends. And then we'll just use Seal Plus on these ends. I'm being generous with it. Sometimes it's not easy to stick things down to the glimmer paper. You could even use a couple of mini glue dots if you wanted to. And let's see, again, I'm letting this strip be just under an inch above the edge of the card. So right about here. So I think that gives the eye some really good focus space because I went that same 1/8 of an inch here that I did here. So it just gives it a nice layout. So here are my pieces. And then of course we want to embellish a little bit. So I'm grabbing some of my linen thread. This is my most basic kind of ribbon without really being a ribbon. I really like to use the linen thread on projects where I've done a lot of glimmer and sparkle. So this is just a lot of surface area of the sparkle. And then the reason that it's good on here is because it's so kind of organic looking with the brown that it'll really offset. A little more of a texture to look at here. So I just used the tip of my paper snips to thread that under where I wanted it. I'll just pull this over to the edge. The dimensionals that I have under here are going to stop it from going right off the edge. And I'll just tie a bow right up in here. Get that bow just about the way we want it. Trim these ends. I went into my embellishments and found these purple fine shimmer gems. I'm not even 100% sure what colors these are, you guys. How embarrassing. But when you pull these out and look at them, you can see there are 3 different shades of purple. So if I was going to guess, these look like they might be Highland Heather, Gorgeous Grape, and Blackberry Bliss. So of course I'm going to go to my coordinating with my card and use these darker, the Blackberry Bliss ones. So I'll start with one of the bigger ones and put it here in the center of my flower. And then I wanted just a little more than that, so I decided to do a trio in addition. So we'll grab a bigger one, a smaller one to go next to it, and then a little complement, another smaller one up here. And that is it. Have I properly shown off Petunia Pop, you guys? Is this a beautiful card that really shows off that color? I really considered all different, color combos and stuff, but the challenge was Petunia Pop, so I let her be the star, and here's what I came up with. I hope you love it. Thank you for being here with me today, you guys. I hope you loved this card. This was a fun one to make. This is a color I hadn't used a lot before, so thank you, Shannon, for the challenge. And thanks for the opportunity to bring out my Petunia Pop-ish blouse. And if you love my video most, click like. Don't forget to check out each of my competitors by clicking the links in my description. And while you're there, you can also join my mailing list or check out my Facebook group or whatever else you might be looking for. I will catch you next time. Thanks again.